Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. It's another paid request, this time for broad stipe. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for the movie Red Hill. And before I start, if there's any background noise, I apologize. Just the sounds that occur when you're in the middle of nowhere. But Red Hill from 2010, if anyone is going, wait a minute, this movie sounds familiar, it's because apparently this is the film Sylvester Stallone saw where he said, I want this guy to do the new Expendables film, which at the time was Expendables 3. And this is Patrick Hughes. Now, granted, after that, he would also go and do The Hitman's Bodyguard, which I enjoyed. The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, I enjoyed that film as well. The Man for Toronto, not so much. But it's weird because with this, he had a different look and feel to his directing. And I do see why someone like Stallone would go, you know what, this guy toured. But at the same time, with that said, you didn't let him do anything that he did in this film into Expendables 3. So on the flip side, it's like it still doesn't make sense why he picked this guy, because Expendables 3 is a bland looking movie of, I'm not going to get into that because I'll go 20 minutes on Expendables 3, which sadly is still better than the fourth one, but because this one, it's a simple, straightforward, modern Western that takes place in Australia. That at times is filmed kind of like a horror film atmosphere, which was nice. With some really good looking scenery, some really nice looking cinematography. The acting was pretty decent. And like I say, it's a very simple, straightforward film. You have a guy, it's his first day on the job. He's worked before, but he's moved here with his pregnant wife to this very, very small town called Red Hill. He had an incident before where he got wounded because he didn't want to shoot. As he puts it, well, maybe he needed help, not a bullet. But he got wounded for it. He got pushed aside. So again, he's gone to this town with his pregnant wife. It's his first day on the job. And nobody really respects him. Nobody really takes him seriously. Oh, here's the new constable. He's the rookie, technically here. Hey, we got this day with some dead horses. You go off and you take care of it. With some pretty decent aftermath of these horses. But while he's doing that, at the station, news breaks out that there's a prison break that had happened, where this Aborigine guy called Jimmy escaped, and all the cops are now steered or tense because they know the guy's coming back here, and this guy's, as they build up, a force to be reckoned with. And then pretty much throughout the film, you have this guy taking out the cops one by one throughout this small town. And the town, they really do utilize the whole town. And like, it's a small town, as in you go down the main stretch and it'll take you less than a minute. And they utilize that block, and again, it's a really good looking scenery where you see the mountains and stuff in the background of this town. It just, you really get a sense of the isolation, and a good chunk of it takes place at nighttime. So like I say, it gives a little bit of a horror film feel as this vengeful Aborigine is taking revenge on these cops one by one. And there's some violence. I do wish it was a bit more violent, but there's some violence in there. And the Aborigine, he's a pretty stock built guy with like a burnt face who doesn't say any words, while the lead guy is just trying to do what he can Like at one point, there's a hostage situation, and he helps try to defuse the situation and get out of the way so he doesn't get shot and killed. There's some decently directed scenes, some hide and seek sequences. And like I said, it's a film that doesn't take too long to get going. Some may argue that that's not enough time to build up your characters, which is true in the fact that like the other cops, you don't really know anything about them. The lead guy, like I said, you don't know a whole lot about him, but I thought the lead guy, I still thought he did a pretty decent job. It was enough that I still gave a shit. Just the circumstances, he seems like a decent guy, he seems like a decent cop. Again, he loves his wife, and he's just trying to get home as best as he can. And I'll get into spoilers in a bit, but like I said, there may be times people will feel it's predictable. People may fairly predict where it's going. But even with that, I was still rather satisfied. Like I said, other than I wish that there's a couple moments I wish were a bit more visceral and violent. I thought for a movie that's not going to win any awards for originality, I thought it was a pretty well crafted movie. Like I said, it's a good looking movie. Some really nice scenery. The actors did their parts well. Ed taking place in Australia had a little bit of, may have a little bit different feel. Like I said, I like that at times it did feel like a bit of a horror film. I know some people compare this No Country for Old Men. I actually like this film more than that. But this is more my cup of tea when it comes to that type of movie. To get more into spoilers, one thing I thought was kind of a weird choice was the dead horse, and you see this thing later, it was a panther. I thought that was kind of a weird choice. But granted, it made it seem a bit unique. Because there's a bit where one of the cops are dead, and the cop looks over, and there's a panther, and it takes the body and drags it away. I did see it gives a little bit of a something different. Still thought it was a bit of a weird choice, but okay. A little bit unexpected bit of business. And this Aborigine guy, Jimmy, you don't want to fuck with him. He just is able to kill. He kills like 2 cops in the police station, finishes one guy off, shoots him right in the head when he's on the ground crawling. There's a guy trying to snipe him. He turns and hits the guy right in the head. There's one guy he shoots in the legs and puts him in the trunk of a car. Yeah, he doesn't fuck around. Like I said, when I mentioned sometimes I wish it was a bit more violent. Like there's a bit where this guy's having a cat mouse chase with this other guy in a bar. It kind of gets to the guy, then it cuts away. You hear a gunshot. Like I said, sometimes I wish there was just a bit more, even more a bit of a punch in terms of the violence and grisliness. I think that could have helped sell more to the audience that this is a villain. This is a scary horror villain type of guy. And we need to be worried about these cops. Because that's what we're supposed to think at first. And big spoilers. The twist that I think a lot of people may find predictable is there's a reason why this guy's doing this. These cops are not that innocent. And as the rookie cop finds more and more information out, he realizes that what this guy's doing is revenge because back in the day, something about a railroad or something was supposed to be built. It was government going to build something. This guy and his wife lived there. They didn't want to move, so he was going to stop it. But it would bring a lot of money to the other people. So they went to Jimmy and his wife, and they raped her. They tried to kill him. He got burnt, and he got framed for killing his own wife. And then we later find out it was a pregnant wife. And I mean, when you're burnt up and someone kills your pregnant wife, no shit, he's gonna want to get revenge. And that's why, like, he does things where he has this innocent couple, but he doesn't hurt them. There's the one cop who he doesn't recognize, and the cop diffuses the situation. That's why this guy doesn't shoot him at first. Or there's a bit where he ties a guy up, the rookie cop, and drags him somewhere, and has him duct tape instead of just killing him right off. Then finds that the cop had like a baby name book, because his wife's pregnant too, and so that reminds him. And so the clues are there. Like I said, I think a lot of people will get that fairly quickly. But either way, it's still, I thought, well crafted, nicely told, and I like that it didn't go into tons of different subplots. Because sometimes these movies, they're afraid to go on the simple route. Sometimes they have to overcomplicate it, and that's how these running times will balloon to 2 hours, or 2 hours and 12 minutes, or 2 hours and 15 minutes. Which wasn't the case in this. I thought it went in a rather good pace. So it's almost as if, I don't know why, maybe this is why Stallone kind of, it reminded me for some reason like an Australian First Blood, in a weird way. Maybe because there's a guy coming back in the town, wreaking havoc on the town, kind of like John Rambo did, except Rambo only killed one person in self-defense. This is for completely different reasons, but I mean, if this had happened to Rambo's wife, this is exactly what he would have done. But like I said, why then take this guy who directed this type of movie and give him Expendables 3? Because Expendables 3 is a completely different animal compared to this movie. There's nothing in similarity between the two. In terms of atmosphere, or setting, or the way to direct it. Plus, let's be honest, when you got this new guy, and there's Sylvester Stallone, and Arnold, and Mel Gibson, and fucking Jason Statham, all these other guys, Wesley Snipes, they're not gonna listen to Patrick Hughes. So like I said, I like that the town of Red Hill at times was lit like a horror movie, and you have the mountains around it, and these nice wide shots. I didn't really sell the isolation like they're all alone. I guess because all the regular citizens, they live, I guess, in houses, other places. Because the only people in this town you see are the cops. You find out dirty cops. And like the guy Jimmy does use a couple, like at one time uses a spear, at one time uses a boomerang to kill someone. I wish he would have used that a bit more, kind of creative ways. It would have been nice to see a bit more of that. Maybe like to see a bit more like squibs when people get shot. I think that little bit extra bit of business, I think, would have sold some of the scenes a bit stronger, a bit, giving it a bit more impact. Like I say, other than that, and it's not the most original movie, I still liked it. I still liked it. That was a nice little well, I wouldn't say it's fun, but it's a nice little surprise. That was a pretty decent movie. I think if you like, again, modern Western type of movies, in a way, it's a revenge vigilante movie. It's just you're not supposed to know that at first. Because again, at first you think this guy's a villain. At least that's his intention. Again, whether that's successful for people or not, I don't know. Again, I think a lot of people will figure that out. So if they figure it out that easily, then I don't know. I mean, I just gave it away, but I did say spoilers. But I still like that. I still like that typical twist, but I still like that twist on it. And the way it ended, I thought, made sense. Didn't overstay its welcome. And overall, just a simple, straightforward, well-crafted movie. Yeah, I liked it. I think it's worth the watch. It's worth the watch. Because I'm sitting there going, what the fuck is this movie Red Hill? I'm like, okay. It's pretty decent. Makes me feel more bad for Patrick Hughes because Expendables 3 is not what people should have seen for his first showcase into... Because a lot of people, they don't know what Red Hill is, so they would have... Patrick Hughes, who the fuck is this guy? This movie sucks. Expendables 3 sucks. I'm like, no, he's a decent director. And again, Patrick Hughes, go back to making films like this. You'll never see this, but don't make films like The Man from Toronto with Kevin Hart. I know that was done to capitalize the success of The Hitman's Bodyguard. I don't know if the second one even did that well, but yeah, I like both of them. Just go back to doing films like this, man. Go back to doing films like this. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.